Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, Mary. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Doing well.
I wish our great state of Wisconsin had a little sunshine today, but they just can't seem to get past the snow and rain.
Was that where I saw somewhere in the country had like a crazy hailstorm the other day?
Yeah, that happened just for like 2 minutes, a little bit of hail. It was just a little different.
Interesting. So, all right, well, couple things. Everyone welcome. And look, I don't know if you've been on LinkedIn or any of these platforms and all these clear cooperation conversations. There's a couple things I want you to keep in mind, right? Number one, what people are insinuating in my almost 19 years in this business is the craziest thing I've ever heard because you have a lot of people talking about a lot of different things and none of them have ever met you. None of them have done business with you. So to insinuate that an entire group of 30 plus thousand agents are trying to keep listings private so they could double end them, it's crazy, right? 94% of the listings at Compass actually end up on the MLS, right? And the part that you guys want to know about this and that you stress this in your conversations, right? Is that look, the three-phase marketing approach is established to give a seller more control. The plan the entire time is to go to the MLS through all three phases, unless they've indicated they don't want to go on the market at all, right? Which is some group of people, right? Like the higher end, some people like privacy, some people that have personal situations. Everyone has the right to make their own decision. Now, in phase one or phase two, if they get the most amazing offer that they never thought they could ever get, and they don't want to go through the whole hassle, why do they have to? I don't understand. As a person, right, with a public business, two small kids, I would not want to put my home on the MLS. And an agent that could sell my house off market that would not disrupt my ongoing Zoom schedule would be the most valuable. But that's just me as an individual, right? So when you're presenting three-phase marketing or having any of these conversations, just remember these words. I'm going to go through a strategy and you have the choice whether you think it'll work best for you or if you'd like to do a different strategy. Either way, and this is what we always have to say, I support you 100%. That's it. And you present the options. I'm like this close, and I'll tell you guys this year. I started typing this, and then I was like, I probably should ask the people at Compass. There's one particular CEO of a company who just can't stop talking about this, right? And it's like, it's the stuff that he's saying is the craziest thing. So I'm this close to challenging him to a public pitch off where he can invite as many agents, and I'll invite all the agents we know, and we'll let the people decide if the let's just go to the MLS and go on the portal sites is the pitch of, I think, the early 2000s, right? So I just wanted to share that with you because there is a lot of noise out there, and let's not be um, absent-minded to the fact that your clients could potentially hear it too, right? So we want to make sure that you're prepared for the conversation. So another quick update is our first version of our system is into Compass One, right? I have an agent that I've been working with that has been helping me kind of put this all together. Her and I are meeting for the entire day on Thursday to go through all the marketing center printouts and stuff. So we're moving right along. So Summer Padilla is not here, but special shout out to her. She's been a major partner for us in this project, and our dream of integrating, the technology and the transaction in one place is very close, right? So now today's session is short, sweet, and very impactful, right? I'm gonna make a hard pivot here for the sake of time. When we start thinking about the home tour, right? Does anyone realize how important this one part of the step really is? On a scale of 1 to 10, let me see where you all are. How important is the home tour in your professional opinion? When the seller walks you around the house. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 7, 7, 10. I'm getting a lot of 10s from people who've been here before. 10, 5, 5, 6. Okay, now we're talking contrast. Chrissy, I don't know if that's a 10 or a 1 or 1, 0. So we have variety, right? Look, where pitches are won or lost. Do you ever really realize that this is like the number one pitfall for all agents? People walk around the house. Oh my God, this is so amazing, Shelby. I love what you've done with this space buyer. Oh, so thoughtful. Oh, people are gonna love that. Really? So you compliment and you compliment and you compliment. And what people don't realize is they're selling you or you're selling them. They're selling you on fantasy and you're selling them reality, right? So when we go around the house and we're like, oh, this is so great. Being an over reporting and trying to be somebody's friend means you don't know how to sell, which means you don't know how to talk to people and help other people get what they want. Do not do this. Because as soon as you get to price and you've over complimented them on how great the house is and they give you some delusional number, because don't think they don't have some crazy made up number in their mind, all your rapport is gone. And now you're there telling, explaining, and combating them, and your listing presentation gone. But don't worry, there's a better solution, right? So we're going to talk about it's sequential. So now we're in somebody's house. We're going to go through starting the pitch. We'll go through more pitfalls of the home tour, your unique positioning statement, you leveraging AI, the exact questions you tell, and how to get to the home story, right? On the other side, as bad as the home tour could be, it's also a place that you get really great marketing information. I use the same example all the time. Nobody says, "Hey, honey, let's go buy that stately colonial on a tree-lined street." Might as well say old house with bugs, right? And it's like perfect ranch nestled in Westport Gardens. Like, oh yeah, that's not how people think about homes, right? Part of the challenge with clear cooperation, some of these other things, the people that are talking about it lack the evolution of marketing and human connection. If you talk to any buyer, there's probably 3 to 5 different things or experiences they want to have with a home. And you need to A, connect buyers to those experiences. And B, when we're marketing to agents, we need to connect words to what their buyers are saying. Has any buyer ever told you that they want a stately colonial on a tree-lined street? Anybody? No. Beautiful cottage in Westport Hills neighborhood. Does anybody say that? No, right? Great condo in New York City Towers. Does anybody say that? That's not how people think, right? People like, oh, I would love an apartment that has a balcony with the view of the Empire State Building. That's something a lot more logical, right? So look, here's another thing, and I want you guys to do this on all of your pitches going forward. You need to realize one thing. If you go back in any price point for 24 months, you will see 85 to 95% of properties co-broked, meaning there's you and another agent, correct? So if that's the case, why is nobody focused on agent to agent marketing? You want to eliminate portals, or you don't want people, just market to agents. They already have all the clients. But market in a more thoughtful way and think of the words that clients say to you, right? If I were all of you right now, I would be keeping a running log of what people wanted, right? I'd put it in a document. And then I would eventually put it into ChatGPT. I see Brad's brain spinning right now that would say, look, these are the actual words that people use when they describe what they want in a home. How can I align better marketing copy? Now ask me questions one by one about my listing, and keep in mind the framework that you learned of what buyers actually ask for, so that when we market, it's more human-based, it builds connections, it tells a story, and it allows agents to easily connect our property to their buyers. Works pretty well. All right, look, you show back up, recap their Med C, right? From there, you go to the next step. Is there anything else that came to mind? Mark, I know that selling your home is a big decision, and we just had an initial conversation. Is there anything else important that you'd like to share that would be impactful for us to know? No, then transition to your listening pitch, right? So by recapping your Med C, it shows that you listened, right? In hearing what you were saying and listening to what you're saying, I just want to make sure that I captured all the details and that there's not anything else you want to add. Pretty simple, right? Pitfalls of the home tour. This is my favorite. Misaligned goals. They want more money, you want reality. Over complimenting equals loss of authority. Doug Heddings, great sales manager in New York City, he was an agent before and had a company. And so he had gone to a client's house, third home he was selling for them, but they're really difficult. He's here, the agent's here, clients are there, and there's a door back there. 3-year-old kid comes outside the door, walks right over to the agent, who's a woman, gets in her lap. The kid's, what does the lady do? She starts talking to the kid and everything else. And this persists for several more minutes. Not like, hey, how are you? Okay, great, nice to meet. And in the end, the person turned around and said, I'm looking to hire a professional agent to sell my home, not a nanny. Gone. They didn't get the listing. Could be harsh, but you got to remember, misaligned goals lead to loss of authority and opportunity. You inflate their expectations. It becomes unrealistic when they have a house that has not been updated and you over complimented like they just got renovated, the whole thing. It's also a missed opportunity to provide value, right? There's a saying, how it starts is how it goes. You've already started in a really powerful way with the Med C. Continue to be a leader. Continue to establish authority. Continue to be of value. And this sets you up for a loss of the listing. Because as soon as you get to price and you've over complimented, that's like somebody over complimenting me about coaching and this is great, you make so much people money, and I get to the price like, oh no, that's way too expensive. But wait, I thought you said that I was the best coach alive. And it was worth any investment, right? So start thinking about how your words. Does anyone have an aha moment already about how they do their home tour and one thing they could do differently? Anybody? Nobody wants to raise their hand. I understand. Keith, we got one honest person. All right. Sari, always. Michael, I see you on screen too. Thank you. This is the biggest opportunity. And look, you don't be ashamed on raising your hand. It's not like anybody ever told you how to do this, right? It's not like when you got your license, they're like, here, Shrog, here's how you give a listing presentation, pre-qualified people, conduct an effective home tour. No, there's only growth. All right, leverage the Plod Note. How many people have a Plod Note? Everyone needs to get one. Mark, go buy one. $200, best investment you'll ever make. So a Plod Note comes in many different shapes and sizes. My girlfriend and I are going to I don't know what it was, like a seminar or training or something like that for somebody that she loves and follows. Things like 6 hours long, and she's like, "Oh, how am I going to capture all this?" I was like, "Oh, I'm going to bring a Plod pin. Look, I'll go buy one, or I could put it on the back of my phone, and it could just record the whole thing." Right? So as you're going around, you want to establish yourself as a tech forward agent. I would say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, would it be okay if I leverage AI to capture every single detail of what you say in regards to your home, the tours, the unique benefits, so I can craft the right marketing message for the ideal buyer? They're going to say, oh yeah, that's great. Do you know what it's like when somebody's walking around with a Plod Note, then the next person comes along like, hold on, can you say that again so I can write it down? Game over. Okay, so now here's the really tactical part. In real estate, do we all know how to scan a room? Do we all know when we go to people's houses, because you've seen so many houses, they're like, I can show you where the bathroom is. Like, nah, man, I'm a realtor. I got this, right? Like, you just know where things are in people's houses, right? Because houses are laid out very similarly. Now, what I want you to do is when you go there, take a quick scan, right? And just let them know in the beginning, oh, it's really clear. that you have put a lot of time and investment into, whether it's a kitchen, a bathroom, or whatever it is. Remember, no one wants you in their house for 3 hours. Generally, the longer the listing pitch, the chances of you get it going down goes down. Because somebody's going to take that 3 hour thing and have his authority and control and put it to this. The next part is, right? You have to acknowledge that. If not, to make shrug, here's my kitchen and here's my sub-zero fridge. And we put like that's not going to help you, right? Here's your unique positioning statement, right? Would it be okay if I asked you some really important questions so we can position your home on the market for the ideal buyer and as a result, maximize your equity, right? Feature, ask you some really important questions. Benefits, so we can position your home on the market for the ideal buyer. Destination, maximize your equity. Feature, benefit, destination. It's all built into the statement. Now, who owns the home tour? You or them? You, right? Now people could push back. Oh, Shrug, I can show you that. You know what? That's really great. But, respectfully, I'd love to look at this through the eyes of the buyer and ask you some strategic questions so that we can get you the ideal result in the marketing, right? So we'll go through the questions. We'll have some time for Q&A in the end. So here's how you do this. You're going to just walk through the house and the questions will guide you on their own, right? So if you're walking and you want to make notes, you can talk into your plot note. People are going to look at you a little weird, like, oh, remember I got the AI thing, right? Question number 1, what will you miss most about your home when leaving? This immediately kicks in the emotional aspect of this for them. Now, let me ask you a question. People who you're vulnerable with and share emotional connection, do you trust these people more than ones you don't? Not a trick question. The answer is yes, right? So remember, trust is a feeling created through interactions and engagement, right? So we want people to trust us. We have to ask trustworthy things and create that experience. Second one, what is your favorite thing about the home? As soon as they tell you what that is, you go right to that room. What room do you love the most in your home, and what is your favorite memory? This is really where it gets fun, right? I asked Peggy Jorson this one time, and when we were doing one-on-one coaching, she's like, "Oh my God, I have the most amazing like sitting room. It has tons of light. It has a fireplace. Me and my girls would sit there and we would read every day. Like this is just going, right? But also they're giving you the experiences of how people live in a home. Make sense? What is one thing that you would know about your home only if you live there? Or it's like, what's one thing that you learned about your home after living there? I can tell you in the home that I live in now, I had no idea how much closet space this place had. Like it's insane, right? Like I have, I don't know. My mom always joked around that she wanted a daughter and she got me, right? I have like a full long closet. My girlfriend has 4 double door closets with shelves on the top, shelves on the bottom. And I remember looking for another home a couple years ago and realizing like I can't even find another house, regardless of price, with a closet where I wouldn't have to like turn a bedroom into a closet, right? So you can measure literally the rod space. It's crazy, but I never knew that when walking in here. Because when you're walking into a house, you're not thinking about functional living, right? Most people, when they walk in houses, are thinking about bedrooms and bathrooms and ceiling heights and updates. They're not thinking, will my clothes fit in this closet, right? That's why it's so powerful when you're doing a sell and a buy that you actually get to walk the property and take certain notes that you can use as filters for the buyers, right? When they go on the buy-in. Same thing like Kate Bauer, a great coach of ours and an agent that many of you know. She'll ask a buyer, this might be weird, but do you mind if I see how you live now for the contrast and what you want differently, right? What made you buy this home? You notice we did not talk about that in the beginning. We left it in the end, right? Because we want them to open up first. What is your favorite thing about where your home is located? What is very convenient around you? How far are the schools from your home? What is your favorite thing about living in this community? and we'll get into the framework. Do you notice the story arc of information you have here now? Location, community, what they'll miss the most, things they didn't know. Now, you could tell a story with this, right? There's personal experience, there's personal connection there. There's selling experiences, there's unique positioning, and then creating connection with buyers. You can take this information now and you can make a variety of different email templates, especially social media posts, open house messaging, where now you could take the same house and market it 3 different ways. You could try messaging in private exclusive. You could try different messaging coming soon. Then you could check the 2 messages and then try a 3rd message when going to market. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to print out the questions. Number 2, find somebody in practice. Most important thing. Read them till they're committed to memory. I would read these questions over and over and over again. And bring the questions to the next pitch, right? Like you don't need to have everything memorized. Like if you're new to our program, I'd be showing up with the Med-C on a piece of paper, or I'd be sharing it with somebody if I was on Zoom, like, hey, I wrote down a few really important questions. Writing things down is not a weakness. It's actually a strength. It shows that you're planned. It shows that you're purposeful. You're better off having written questions than you are not saying them at all. Make sense? All right, who has questions? I do that kind of a job. Michael.
Oh,
I have
Michael and Mary.
I have more of a comment. What you said in the beginning about the agent who had the child sit on their lap. I've made that mistake many, many times trying to become friends with the people I work with and build that relationship. And then when it comes time to having to be firm about a price reduction or making a change, I never had the leverage because they felt like they had that control over me. So that doing that and going in there and just getting straight to business, I think is very, very important because you lose a lot of leverage when you try to be their buddy instead of just selling their house for them.
Yeah, that doesn't mean you have to be cold and emotionless, right? Like, look, like I believe I run a professional business for all of you, but all of you feel that you have some human connection to me, right? I'm a person too, but like I'm very clear that I'm hired to do a job, right? That's why I call them carefrontations when I sit here and I call people out on things because people need to hear it. Nobody came into coaching for somebody to yes them to death, right? There is some port of friction that's growth. And like, look, I just used to smile and joke around with people, Michael, say, look, would you prefer that we start our relationship on the truth, or would you prefer I lied to you? And they're like, no, we would prefer you telling me the truth. So then we could both agree that the person that says they're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week is lying because all humans sleep, even bats, right? Like, and they just laugh, right? And it starts putting things into a certain context. Mary.
Well, mine's kind of a question that rolls into that home tour. There's a new seller. I don't have the listing yet, but he has a need for significance and intelligence. So you're gonna have to talk to him the right way. And his kitchen is 20 years old and he wants top dollar. And I found I didn't know how to, I know being direct is important, but I felt that directness would kick me out of the competition. He still hasn't listed. And I'm not sure how to craft that message.
So here's the thing. This is where being a skilled listing agent comes in, right? So you're going to walk him around the house. You're going to go through the house. You're going to go through the comps. It's the same story every time. He believes, right, that his dated home is worth the same amount as perfectly renovated homes. Because
Yes,
to him, his house is a 10, right? So
right,
the first thing
yes,
you're going to do is, so what I hear you saying is based on us having the best marketing, you feel that we could set a record. And he's going to be like, oh yeah, 100%. Right? Be like, perfect. So look, let's list out specifically the upgrades you made and the cost associated to them so we can justify the value to buyers and their agents. And the guy's gonna be like, amazing. And so now here's the key. When you walk around the house, you can say, all right, so what'd you do? Closet? Okay, 15,000, this and this and this and this. Okay, great. And you can take some pictures, right? And you're like, what the heck? So then I take out my phone, right? And I'd say, look, in fairness, Mark, your home has $100,000 upgrades, right, Mary? And she goes, yeah, 100%. Thank you so much. Would you say if you were objectively looking at this through the eyes of a buyer, if we gave your home these upgrades, would it be safe to say that we have to give the buyer the same benefits on the cost to upgrade your kitchen to this kitchen? And they'd sit there like, oh, yeah. What about this to this? Oh, yeah. How much do you think? And it works about. Another strategy is great. Like, I understand you want to list in this range. One of the things I always like doing with my clients is before we finalize on how we're not priced, how we're going to position your home on the market, let's go look at all the other listings you compete with and have a conversation. Because a buyer that's going to look at your home is going to look at these 3 other homes. And then you sit down and ask yourself, like, if you saw this other home at 1.5 and your home at 1.5, which one would you choose and why? You can't say it to them. That's the part. It's a
right.
process, not an event. But this is why it takes a lot of time to practice this over and over and over again.
Thank you.
When you say, what would you pay for your home? They're going to tell you 1.5 million because it tells us the greatest thing in the world, right? Oddly enough, most people respond like that, don't like to see the competition. Yeah. And then the other pathway you could say is, hey, look, I really appreciate this relationship, Mary, and I hear you're really trying to maximize your equity. So look, you have to sell the house twice, once to the buyer, once to the bank. Let me pay it for an appraiser as well as an hour for his consultation so he could sit here and tell us the exact value of the house and if there are any upgrades we could make to upgrade the condition to unlock more equity. And then blame it on somebody else. Best $500 or $750 you could ever spend. Don't ever undervalue your time against money. And if a seller wants what they want, here it comes. I knew this was coming. Just say no. No. So if a seller says, you know what? I want 1.5 million for a house. Completely understand. I'm all for, as part of our partnership, trying to set a record. The average days on market in your neighborhood is 22. If we get to 30 days, can we agree we have to improve the price to 1.2 million based on what other buyers are willing to pay? No, I'm not willing to do. I want to do 1.5. Okay, completely hear that you want 1.5 for your home. What's your plan B if the home doesn't sell at 1.5?
Mhm.
You have everything that you need there. And you're going to say respectfully, I base the professional advice I give on three key factors. One, the market and the data. Two, the data, what other buyers are willing to pay for homes. And three, what your neighbors are willing to accept for their homes, right? Because all of the people that have professional representation have access to the same data, and that's how they make decisions. So if we can't align on this, I don't feel that I'm the right agent because this is the way that I choose to operate my business.
Because I can't, it doesn't make any sense to take an overpriced listing. You miss other opportunities,
And you have mental abuse. You just don't forget about that part, right? Like
right?
this person, there is nothing. And if it's an older person, they're going to call you every single day. Don't do it. And that mental fatigue literally destroys you in other areas. Do you know, Suzanne, great point. It's bad for the agent's reputation. I had an agent and we were working on her pitch for like a really expensive listing past what she normally sells. And she was competing against another agent. I said, let's go pull this agent's stat. Every single one of the listings was like on the market forever, multiple price reductions. So she literally printed this woman's printout on and highlighted all the days on market. She says, do you want somebody that's going to put a sign and have your house sit on the market for 200 plus days or somebody that's going to get it sold? And they're like, somebody's gonna want to get sold. And so she pulled up her same numbers in the same time. And she addressed the point. She goes, yes, I understand it's a different price point, but our marketing plan gets results, regardless of the price point. And that was the end of that. So remember, being a great listing agent is doing a lot of little things really well and practicing, right? So 12 o'clock, hop over to Brad's accountability
Hey,
session.
Shirag,
Yep.
sorry. Real quick question. So are you recommending that the agents pay for an appraisal? And if so, at what point in the process? Like pre-list, during private exclusive, or what?
No, I
Exclusive.
would, if I was going to pay for an appraisal, right?
Yeah.
It's a listing I really wanted, right? The clients are reasonable, but are just kind of stuck on this.
Okay.
And that's kind of like in like Texas Hold'em, all in, like put your chips in. Let's see if you really want to sell your house. Because I learned this from when I was in sales. I always had an appraiser in my office, and I used to do this all the time because I could see right away if the people were going to be realistic with price, or they're just wanted to take me for a loop.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
It's a tool in your tool belt.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I will see you all soon. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.